Okay, guys, I've got a very special guest for you today. He's interviewed over $1 billion worth of entrepreneurs. He is also into public speaking and just turned 23 as well, so he's quite young. Um, welcome to the hero's journey, RJ. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited for today.
Yeah, me too, me too. So anybody who is not familiar with you, just give them a brief background on your story and what you kind of do.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia. I spent my whole life almost over there, spent almost like 18 years. So when I was living in Saudi Arabia, my life was completely different. I was teaching tuition with my mother. That was the, thought in my mind, like, hey, okay, I'm gonna do a degree, get a job. So that was kind of like a bubble I was living in, and I was okay. I was happy. It wasn't something like, I'm messing up. I was happy over there as well. It was good. But in 2017, we came to Pakistan for the very first time. When we came here, things changed because we never came to Pakistan ever. It was our first visit. Environment was different, people were different, the way of living was kind of like different, how you live over there. So it was hard to consume that time. We felt like we landed in Mars that time. So yeah, like in a couple of months out there, I finished my college. After I finished my college, I haven't got admission in my university. So if you're living in an Asian family out there, you could possibly relate. There are so many comparisons. Hey, like, your cousin got the admission, you don't, you're free and things like that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like affected by it. So I was typically free for 6 months, nothing to do. During that time, I was scrolling through Facebook. I saw an ad around Shopify. So I had a bit of an idea because Shopify was like kindly widely recognized, like what it is, what it's all about. So I was like, cool, let me do a bit more research on that. So I started to do more research on YouTube, and I found a guy. His name is Sebastian Gomez. He's from Costa Rica. He created the video around drop shipping, things like that. I started to learn that. I was like, okay, there is a way to make money online because I didn't knew how to make it. I didn't had the idea about like this. Is that even possible to do it? So I was like, okay. I started to build my store and things like that. Then I was like, how I'm gonna get paid? Like I'm, creating all that. Like how I'm gonna pay it at the end of a day? And that's the biggest question.
Yeah.
So then I saw like you can get paid by PayPal and Stripe. I was like, ah, crap. We don't have PayPal, we don't have Stripe, we don't have any major payment gateways in Pakistan. So I was like, no, this is crazy. But I don't want it to end up in a victim mentality where, hey, I don't have a payment gateway, I can start my online business. I don't want it to be like that. I was like, what is the solution?
Hmm.
So Sebastian was from Costa Rica, so he was outside of US, so he faced actually all of these problems. So he created videos around these problems as well, like what could be the solution. So he told about like, hey, you can form LLC in US, get the tax number, this is how you can get Stripe. So as I mentioned, I was teaching tuition with my mother. When I came to Pakistan, I had my own savings, which was around 126 bucks. I invested that into forming the company. Now, I haven't took money from my parents because if something goes wrong, there's going to be so much negative pressure, negative
Yeah,
energy going
yeah.
to flow in. I don't want to do it like that. If something goes wrong, I want it to be like, hey, I've learned a lesson. That was my own money. Okay. Chapter ends, good to go back to life. So I invested my own money. I was like, that was the only money I had. If something goes wrong, okay, I might not regret it, but at the end of the day, at least I could say like I've at least tried to make it work out. So I started working on Shopify back again, got my Stripe, things like that. And after that, things got done. Finally, I went in and kind of like launched my store. I launched my store in Black Friday in 2018. If people know, like Black Friday is the biggest night of e-commerce or so. I was fascinated by the gurus who were like talking about you can make 6 figures a week, 7 figures a week. You can just get that ad on, money start flowing in. So I had this perception. I had this in my mind, like if I'm gonna turn my ad on in a day or two or in a week, I'm gonna make 6 figures. Like literally, this was my thought. Like it's that easy, but it wasn't. When I ran the ad, I was wasting money. I was like, well, I'm not even making money. So it wasn't working for me at all. During that time, I saw a lot of marketers were talking about the concept of funnel. I was like, what is a funnel, man? I'm super curious. Everyone talk about like sales funnel, this and that. So I got to know about like what funnel is. During that time, coincidentally, I saw a post on Instagram. Like this guy had made over $3 million in 90 minutes. Russel Brunson, co-founder of ClickFunnels. I
Mm.
was like, and that was a coincidence because I never thought about this is gonna be something like this gonna happen. right away and at the perfect timing out there. I was like, Russell Brunson could be the only person right now, as of the moment, I could relate with funnels. So I started to do more research on who Russell Brunson is, what ClickFunnels is all about. So I started using ClickFunnels in January in 2019 under Paul Motley. He's like, one of the amazing guys I met. He helped me out to start my journey with ClickFunnels. When I got in a call with him for the first time, I didn't know how to speak English because English is not my first language.
Yeah.
And For the people who don't know how to speak English, English is in their head. They don't have the ability to speak because they don't have the confidence to do it. Especially with the native people out there, it's like hard in the initial start to get through. So he helped me out, and long story short, what initially happened after that, I was trying to make money as an affiliate marketer. Is the reason why I joined ClickFunnels. I was watching those people making money with those orange bars or so. I was like, I want to make money as well. Like, how's that even possible? So I wasn't making any money. I was like fed up. Is that even possible? Is that a scam or like things like that? But in March in 2019, there was a guy who needed Facebook ads course. I had it. I was like, hey man, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. I was
Mhm.
like, I will give you that bonus for free because I got that from other guy I've signed up for free if you sign up for one funnel away challenge, which was of $100. He was like, oh man, that's a great offer. Let's do it. So he bought one funnel away. I made my first $100 in a day, and I was like, "Oh man,
So,
this is crazy."
yes.
Yeah, because that was the first sale. Not only that, but also like $100 in a month I could spend easily, in a hostel or in a student life. I could spend like $100, and it could be good, well spent
Yeah.
for a whole month. I mean,
That's cool, man.
yeah. So when I made that, I was like, oh man, I made the whole, expenditure of a whole month in a day. So if I
Okay.
was like, now it's possible. If I can make that much, I can make even more as well. So I made my first $300 in that first month, which is like an average salary here for monthly salary. I was like, that's amazing to understand the concept of the value. Like what's value is, everyone says the term value, they make it look cliche or things like that. But value is if you're helping someone with your time, resources, money to help other people out, that is a value to that other person. So I
Hmm.
started to understand what value is, started to provide more in ClickFunnels groups, in comments or things like that, and made my first $1,000 after a month or so, and made my first $10,000 in the next
Wow.
6 to 7 months. So that's like kind of a story how things started for me.
Wow, that's huge, man. Like, how old are you then?
I was like 19 when I started out.
So 19, you're making 10K. What were your
Yeah.
parents thinking, man? In the beginning, they're like, what
Well,
is this guy doing?
yeah, like the parents weren't like involved that much. They were like, okay, if you can balance your study with just with whatever you're doing, we're good to go. The main part was the toxic relatives. They're like, hey, what's going on? Like, hey, any updates so far? Have you made any money? I'm like, I'm gonna screw you guys for sure. So when I started making some money, I was like, were you saying something? There was something going
That's
on.
good. I like that.
That Yeah, so that was the kind of like a reply I kind of like did for them. I showed them like this was possible. My parents never said, hey, don't do this. They said do the balance. I was like, cool, that's a pretty good deal. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
that's what happened.
yeah, that's awesome. I interviewed somebody else previously, and he had like a YouTube channel, and he's basically he's a sales professional, so he was trying to get into closing and making money.
Yep.
And the people in the comments, they kept saying, "Well, when are you gonna make money? When are you gonna make money? When are you gonna?" So finally, when he made money, he started replying back to them. So it feels good.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly.
Well, and so you're like 19 years old. You're like 10K in the account. It's interesting because a lot of life's blessings usually come in like calamities or things that you think are like the worst thing that can happen to you, and
Yep.
you end up making you like realize, oh, that if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I wanted to kind of dive into like your life. I mean, you're 23 years old. I'm 25, so we're still pretty young. It's very
Yep.
interesting. But I want to like chop up your life into three sections. Okay, so we kind of gone over the first section, which is who you
Mhm.
were before you got started, your mentality towards life. I want to dive into chapter two now. So this is the roller coaster, how you manage disappointment, how you manage fear, what you do to get up in the morning, and like your biggest wins. So I want to go over that. Let's go over the what you think is the biggest win you've had, like in your journey when you were getting your channel started up and making money online. what do you think is like your biggest win?
I would say the biggest win was the very first sale. I
Uh,
would say that for sure,
yeah.
because think about it. Like it took me 6 months by the time I started with drop shipping to the time when I made my first sale out there. It took me 6 months to
Wow.
make my first $100.
Wow.
And during that time, the university finally started as well. I was in the university and I was trying to figure this out. And I had this in the back of my mind, like let's say if this thing don't work out to meet the expenditures of university, I might do part-time, delivery boy, things like that. I had these thoughts in my mind, like if that doesn't work,
Uh-huh.
this is going to be my life for now for the next 4 years maybe,
Wow.
because there's no other option,
Yeah.
how I can be. And I was, when I watch other delivery boys, I respect those people a lot, but when I see like how hard they work, so I get
Not
grateful.
appealing. It's not appealing.
Yeah, it's not appealing, but sometimes I'm like, I'm super grateful for the things that happened to me.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would be completely burnt out and things like that. So my very first sale, I would definitely gonna say, is my biggest accomplishment. If that didn't happen that time, I might have not doing those things out there,
Wow.
because that led to a lot of other things.
Yeah.
That led to start my show. That led to get into other ventures. That led to me doing public speaking. That led to me doing things that I never thought about in my first chapter of my life
Yeah.
that I would do. All of those things that I thought about, like I will never do in my life, I've done all of those things out there, following the thing that I've done, which is the first step.
Yeah.
So after that thing was the next level of achievement. It was achievement number 2, 3, 4, 5, that. But the major achievement that got me was my very first year.
Uh-huh.
If that didn't happen, nothing would have mattered.
How
So yeah,
how did you how did you manage to like, okay, so what, because usually when people celebrate, this is my issue, right? When I get a big win
yeah,
or something, I don't know how to celebrate. How do you celebrate your wins? So say you're making, I don't know, $100 or you started making ticket. How did you
yeah.
like reward yourself?
I think the very first way was just to share with the people who are super close with me. Definitely,
Yeah, yeah,
I definitely to share with them, because I wanna share my happiness. I can't like keep it under myself. It's not me. I can control something like that happen to me. I would always like share that with other people out there who closer to me out there, just to expand it.
yeah,
That's one of the ways to do it. Eating good food,
yeah.
talking
There we
like
go.
with
There
the
we
family.
go.
That's the other thing, because definitely I'm like super happy. I'm like all over the world, so I'm like I have to do something just to celebrate that way as well.
Uh-huh.
Third way is making sure I just don't stop. That's the third thing. Like that is the other step of milestone. There's always one way over the other to do
Mhm.
it. But and the last thing, to be grateful. These are kind of like my celebration way to do it. But yeah, like there are some common ways to do it as well, as I mentioned.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Gratitude as well. I think gratitude is kind of the key to getting more out of life.
Yeah,
You know, when you're grateful, you get more, and you also, the things that you have, you have more contentment in them. So okay, so
exactly.
you starting off your channel, I want to go into that journey as well. I wanted to ask you,
Yep.
how did you come up with that idea? How did you get the courage to kind of execute that? And what was the vision?
Hmm. Yeah.
Let's start off with, how did you like
So
sorry, how did you in the beginning when you were first starting out, I mean, how did you come up with that idea?
So before this channel that I have right now, I played keyboard piano.
Uh-huh.
So I know how to play keyboard piano as well. So I had a channel back then. Its name is RJ Pianist. It had like something like 1,300 subscribers, 500,000 views, something like that. But that was kind of like a faceless channel where I was playing piano. I'm not being on camera. It was just my hands playing piano out there. That was it.
Yeah.
Uh, so I had something like this idea, but even then, when I crossed 1,000 subscribers, I had the plan in my mind, like, hey, I'm gonna get on camera, I'm gonna say thank you so much, and things like that. Even though I had things in my mind, like, hey, I'm gonna get on a channel out there, I'm gonna thank people out there, I never did, because I was super shy. I was like, I'm not getting the courage even to get in front of the camera just to do it, even though I had the plan of it. So when I started this new channel out there, again, I was in hostel. If you go back down on my channel out there and see my very first 2 to 3 videos, the camera is not good. I'm super nervous. I don't know what to speak about. I don't know what I'm even talking. I'm just like going with the flow, things
Yeah.
like that. But I was like, I have to start, because I've learned, throughout when I started affiliate marketing, when I was consuming content, I learned that there is a way to make money through YouTube as well, promoting affiliate products. So I was like, okay, cool. let me start that. Let me do that as well. So I was on the mode of figuring everything out, like trying everything out as well. So I started that channel as well. I was super nervous. I was like sitting on my nervous on my mattress out there when no one in my hostel room is, they all went to university. That time I was recording video super fast just to get that off and just to upload it. That's how like 2 to 3 videos I started. And then I was like, I don't want to care about the quality of the video at all. I don't want to, I don't want to care about like how it looks. I just want to do it. And so what I started to do, I removed myself from the camera. I started to do screen sharing and started to talk about more videos, like so that I can put out the content at least. I don't want to resist anything out there. I wanted to do it. So one of my videos that really took off that time was how to create Stripe for non-US citizens. That was a video actually took off. It got
Oh,
15,000
cool.
views.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from I got the solution. I posted that over there. That video actually resulted me directly and indirectly in generating over $10,000 by now. No ad revenue, affiliate commissions, people paying me for consultation for understanding how that works, people paying me for helping Stripe, setting up Stripe. So I started to understand, okay, that is also one of the ways to make money online, directly or indirectly, not affiliate commissions alone, but also in the consultation way, in service way. So I started to put up more and more and more videos. But I really understood that in our market, it doesn't matter how much views only you got. Sometimes you get 100 views, you can generate a lot of money. So one of the other video that I posted, which was from First Promoter. Again, if you go back and watch that video, which was First Promoter review, no better camera, no better light, nothing like that. I was just trying to do it. But that video again generated over $15,000 affiliate commissions plus setting that up. So I
Wow.
was like, I can't stop doing it, man. So I was like, I have to do it, regardless whatever the knowledge I have in my mind. I just have to put that out because someone's gonna change their perspective or their mindset by watching those videos. So I never focused on over YouTube. I've never focused that much on the metric part. Who don't want to grow? Absolutely, everyone wants to grow for sure. But I never focused that much over there. What I actually did, I was like, whatever I have in my mind, I have to put it up. So that was kind of like the idea that initially happened, and a lot of things worked out over there. I'm not gonna say like, hey, I have like 100,000 subscribers. It's right now even close to 1,000, but a lot of things happen for that through the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's insane. I mean, you're in a hostel making a first few videos and it just takes off like that, And I think the thing is, it's just to take that uncomfortable action and to just get in there and do it. So how do you, I wanted to just talk about, I mean, how do you manage disappointment?
Yeah, I've been disappointed a lot of
That's
times.
what I'm
Even now, I get disappointed. There's a lot of different ways. One is comparing yourself with other people.
Yeah.
Easiest way to disappointment. I was talking with a multi-seven-figure guy yesterday in an interview. I was like, how do you avoid that, man, being a seven-figure? He was like, no one can do that. It's like, it's not easy to avoid that. It's like you always get caught up, and there's so many different ways to caught up as well. I always get disappointed with a lot of different things. For me, it's like this is the only option I have. I'm not focusing on doing any other thing. I don't want to get into like the daily life job. I don't want to do these things which like corporate people do. This is the thing I have. It means like even if I say, I don't want to do it, things like that, I still have to get back and see like how I can make it work again.
Yeah.
Because if you watch other people out there who are super successful, even like guys like Russel Brunson or other people who've been in the space for over 2 decades now, they face these problems. They've survived those problems as well. They adapt with the biggest challenges out there that they faced in the past, but they're still here. They're still relevant. So why not us? Because then what we need to understand is we need to see how they actually deal with all those situations, what they actually done, in order to just to kind of avoid that. Like take like small dopamine solutions for yourself just to keep ahead with it, because every time you're gonna get caught up. But for me, it's like even if I'm gonna caught up, that's the only solution to my problem. So I don't want to leave that. So I can stay calm. I might not do anything or chill for some time, but I have to get back with this. So this is my only possible way of handling disappointment every single time whenever it happens.
I like that, man. I really like that. It's just like I love the determination. I love the fact that it's like this is what I'm doing. There's no other option. I think that's fantastic. So okay, so that's how you manage disappointment. This actually leads me to the next question. Okay, so what's your process for like dealing with roadblocks that come up?
Yeah. So first of all, never get into ego, you know, because because problem is, whenever we face something out there, someone already have a solution to it. Someone already have faced it. They have a solution. It happened recently to me out there, and I was like dealing a lot of problems out there, and I was like, I can't figure it out. But there's always a person out there who could help you out. So what I actually did, I went on, paid him, got a consulting session, and I was like, man, I'm facing all these problems. And he was like giving me a solution like that, like literally. That is one way. And the other way around is definitely to discuss with your friends.
Uh-huh.
You definitely not need to be, if someone in your circle already have a solution, you don't need to pay to other person. That's the other way around.
I like
If
that.
they're willing to give that. And it happens to me as well. A lot of people out there send me a message. If they have a problem, they reach out to me. If they see a solution that I have provided makes sense to them, good for them.
Yeah.
Same goes for me. If I have things or problems in my mind, I could ask my friends. It's just like a two-way street, two-way value exchange. That is the other ways to figure out those roadblocks out there. You can't be alone and think like, hey, I'm gonna figure everything out on my own. That's not a solution. That's the thing. That's where ego comes up.
Yeah.
So whenever I face any sort of problem, I ask someone who might have the solution for it, paid or not, both. So that's how I handle roadblock out there, because I faced all of those problems when I started out. When I started out, I didn't have circle, I didn't have network, I didn't have money. That's the other thing as well. I didn't have anything out there, and I was figuring out everything on my own. That's why it took so long to even like comprehend like how things working out or not.
Mhm.
So now if I have network, I have people, I have self awareness. Like if I'm gonna face roadblocks, someone have the solution for it. So why not go and ask for it? So that's how I actually deal with the roadblocks now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's like an issue that I've had to like overcome, which is like just me being, and I'll just do it myself, or like
Yeah,
showing people.
that you never face a problem.
There we go. You know what I'm saying? Like now I'm good. Now
Yeah,
I can just show the people. But really, I was like
yeah,
dying like 2 minutes ago.
yeah. I can understand that for sure.
Man, I think that's great. So, okay, so walk me through your. Okay, so I want to go over like your first ever public speaking experience. So,
Yeah.
like talk about like how you felt, like what made you want to get into public speaking.
Yeah, so actually, I was one of the first 10 to 12 guys out there who ever joined ClickFunnels from Pakistan.
Wow.
Like, that's it. So when I joined it, I started to make some money as an affiliate. I thought about why not creating a course in Urdu, like in my local language, so that people can at least get into the world. It could not, I don't want to charge like hundreds of $1,000. There should be some monetary fact to it, but I want to have these people get into it. There's so many ways out there. Even if you don't use ClickFunnels, pay 97 a month, you can still do so much. There's so many different ways to actually learn around the funnel world and things like that. So I really wanted to do it. So at one point, one of the guy from Pakistan said to me, like, why are you even teaching these people out there? They're never gonna get into this funnel world. If one, it's so expensive, things like that. They are like into rat race, like doing general freelancing out there, like what everyone else do, general graphic designing, things like that. They
Uh-huh.
are already into saturated market, and even new people gonna get over there. No one gonna come to a new market. I was like, how's that even possible? Like, really? Like, I don't even get that. So what we actually did, one of my roommates actually helped me to organize the seminar in my university. And the topic of the seminar was how to make an online income using sales funnels. So, which was completely a new thing.
Mm.
He somehow managed to getting a yes from the professors of the university, because a student cannot be a speaker of the university as well.
Oh,
He,
okay.
yeah, I'm a student. It's my last year, so a student cannot be a speaker inside the university. That is like one of the first policies. So we somehow like got managed around like things like that. So when there were 150 people out there got into auditorium, and I was sitting, I watched back, I was like, that's full room of students out there who are like kind of like fed up, because that was the last schedule of the day, completely tired, messed up, and they're like sitting on their seats. And I was like, ah man, not the good time to speaking over there. First, second thing was I never did public speaking, man. I was doing I was just doing normal live. The show didn't even started yet. I was like, oh, I can't mess anything up. When I got on the stage, my very first thought was, let's leave it. Okay, they're gonna say bad things, but let's leave it. I don't want to do things out there. It's gonna mess up. But the other thought I had in my mind, I was like, if I'm following Russell Brunson, for example, he's a public speaker as well, pretty good public speaker. And one of the essential ways to become a leader is to communicate with your audience, even on stage. Like, you're not gonna find anyone out there who might be good on camera is not good on stages. At least any person you're gonna count on, they are, they know how to speak on stage as well, alongside handle it on camera. So I was like, if I got the opportunity today, and if I'm not gonna do it, I will never be able to do it again. It's like do or die type of situation. I was like, screw it, I have to do it. So there was a dice. I was speaking over there. When I left it, I felt like I'm out of the space. I was like floating, moving from one stage to other. Like, felt like now I'm free to go. There was some barriers. There were some false beliefs like
Uh-huh.
holding me. Like, when I left it, I felt like, I've done it. So I was all good. I wasn't even like thinking about like what anyone gonna think about me being on the stage. You
Mhm.
know, if someone is like saying, hey, something like that, I was all good with it. So my offer with that was one funnel away challenge. I was actually offering them, hey, sign up for one funnel away challenge with me. And the very best part was that seminar was actually one of the best seminar in the university ever happened. And part of the reason why is
Good.
because students were fed up. 150 people were over there. 148 stick to the end, where they had the freedom. They could leave it if they want to. But 148, like 2 to 3 people actually left because they were, it was last period of the university, so they had to leave as well because the bus and all.
Mhm.
148 actually stick to the end. Like, no one like been able to have them stick that long in the whole event type of stuff out there. So when I did and I gave them the offer, after that COVID hit by. Once the COVID hit it, I did the webinar as well alongside that, and a lot of people from Pakistan got into the funnel world, started into one funnel away challenge, and started using click funnels and all. So as of now, if you see anyone from Pakistan out there who's using funnels, who's in the ClickFunnels space, 90% of them are my students or my students' students.
Oh,
It's like, I'm
wow.
not gonna go and brag, but this is actually what happened because I was one of those people who actually started. Like, I was like, someone have to do it. Why not me?
Yeah.
If I'm not gonna do it, someone else gonna do it later on. So let's do it. Let's try. So I was ready to take every single yes or no that time. I was like, I have to push it up. Once I it did, a lot of people out there jump in later on over the course of, let's say, like 2 to 3 years, 2 years at least. It was in 2020. In 2 years, a lot of people jump in, like 500 to 600 people in the funnel world from Pakistan actually jumped in, which
Wow.
was amazing.
That is
So that led me into a lot of different ways as well. But just to answer your question, that's how my journey of public speaking actually started out. It was amazing, man.
that's beautiful. That's a beautiful story. I mean, it's so amazing how when you overcome fear, you're usually rewarded a lot, you know?
Yeah,
And now it's like the next time you're about to do something scary, you can like look back and go, well, I did that and look what happened. Now, if I do this, what's gonna happen? You know?
exactly.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. So, okay, I'm noticing like how you approach things. So I'm noticing that okay, when you hit a wall, it's like or you laser focus on the goal and not there's no other option. So like there's no point feeling fear, there's no point
Yeah,
there's no point, it's do or die, I have to do this, right?
yeah,
So it's interesting watching your mentality. So okay, right now, I mean, you started off when you were around 18 years old. You had this, what you thought was the worst thing to ever happen to you, which is be unable to get into university.
exactly.
Yeah, so let's if I take RJ today, right? And I'm not gonna call you RJ, I'm gonna call you Steve, okay? And and I take you back to your 18-year-old self, and now you can mentor your 18-year-old self. How would that look like?
Yeah, the very first thing I would avoid is to getting into harder university program. I'm gonna be like, why are you getting into, like, I'm in computer science right now. I would have been into BBA or something like that, just to have pressure of studies. Like, why so? If you want to get a degree, you can get any degree out there and just use it anywhere you want. There's no criteria like you have to be graduate. That's it. For people who are living in certain countries to get out of it, You have to have something out there in order to cope up, or in order to back it up with it. So if I'm gonna get back, I'm gonna be like, dude, do whatever you want to do, but take an easy degree out there. That's the first thing. Don't overcomplicate yourself. Don't put yourself in a huge burden. So that's the first thing.
Uh-huh.
Second thing is, if I'm gonna mentor that back, I'm gonna like push it up. I'm like, hey man, don't get you in any sort of corporate stuff at all. Get into it early, get a mentor early out there, because if there's gonna be someone there, there was no one. I was watching free content that time. I was like just consuming. There was no one person out there who was like letting me know, like, hey, do this, and you get the reason. There was actually one of my friend actually told me that, hey man, you're just consuming free content out there. It's not gonna work, and things takes time. You thinking about like getting things early out there, it's not happened that way. I still have that screenshot because I had it in my mind, like, hey man, that said me, that's against my ego, but that was truth. That was straight fire. So
Uh-huh.
that's exactly I'm gonna say to that 18-year-old me, like, hey dude, get a mentor. Whatever you have, get a mentor with that amount, just go and invest that with a person, so you get streamlined direction, so that you don't figure out everything on your own. Someone already did that for you, and you get the courage with that person to do them. So these are like main 2 to 3 things I would definitely gonna go back and avoid doing it for sure. But yeah, because then everything gonna be faster to process. That is, I believe for sure that's gonna happen. But apart from that, I'm not gonna change anything.
I
Nothing.
like that, man. I really like that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, if they go back in time and just like what they would do is all the pitfalls and whatnot, they would make sure that they didn't go through that, so they'd be ahead of where they are right now.
Yeah.
I'm just curious though. I mean, you're doing computer science. You've got an agency, which we'll talk about in a few
Yeah.
moments. I mean, how do you manage your time? Do you feel overwhelmed sometimes?
First thing, I avoid doing I first of all, I'm not a good student, by the way. However, I got in the university, when I started to make money, I was like, screw my degree. I'm gonna just get passed by, just get like the GPA I need just to get through from semester to semester. That's all I need. So my least amount of focus is on the university at the moment. That's not my priority. But still, I do spend 8 hours, 5 times a day, 8 hours every single day when I get to university in person. That's definitely, do get burned out. But it's
Yeah.
like, even right now, I have more sustainable business. I always think about when I didn't had one, and I was figuring it out. My routine at that time looked like I went to university at 8, get back home at 4.
Uh-huh.
Had my dinner, did my rest. I get free at 9 or 10 p.m. I'm talking about. So after 10 p.m., an hour or two, I was like studying what university have like until 12, and from 12 to 3 or like late night, I was figuring things out, and was
Wow.
sleeping less.
Yeah.
So that was actually the hard time for me. Now I can be like, hey, screw university, man. I don't want to do it. Whatever the free amount of time I have, I can just get that to university. Otherwise, whatever in my schedule, I'm gonna put that as my focus. It's because my priorities changes. And I respect other people's priorities as well, where they want to have like, hey, I'm gonna have 50-50 to my work and my degree. For me, it's like it's not my priority anymore, because I understood the value, at least over here, it's not that much.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Me, I finished like I'm technically an engineer, so I
Yeah.
graduated and whatnot, but I haven't used it at all.
Yeah.
I had
Engineering is also super hard, man.
yeah.
Huge props to you. If I've been
Yeah.
doing engineering out there, I might have left the degree just because of this stuff. Yeah.
I'm just curious. I mean, is it more of a family pressure, the reason why you want to finish university and just have that degree to kind of make them happy? Or is it something you want to
Not
do?
kind of like a family pressure, actually. It was like, for me to get, the easiest way for me, let's say, to move out in a different country if I want to, is to get a degree and get a student visa. Even if I do masters and
Yeah.
not study anything, the easiest way for me to go out is using a student visa. That's how it is here. So for that, if I have to do a degree, so yeah, why not? So I want to have like as much opportunities I would have. Apart from that, it have no value. One of my friends actually said to me, when you get a degree, that's a $10,000 mouse pad actually. You're using for a mouse. So I'm like, yeah, man, that's so true. But apart from that, it wasn't any pressure. I did that for myself because I want to get out in a different country. I want to have like different, let's say, passports and things like that. Being a digital nomad, everyone wants to do it.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to have an extra option. So I want to have an extra option, not for a job, but for the other opportunities I could have. Let's say a different passport, moving into a different country. These are the things out there why I went on and be like, hey, okay, even though I don't like you daily, I want to do it.
Okay. Yeah. So it's basically like another. It's a must. It's another must. But you have like
Yeah, kind of like a condition, you would say.
okay, I understand. So okay, so let's touch. I want to go into. I feel like I've got a good understanding of like your chapter 2. Okay, the roadblocks you faced, your mindset, how you push through things, and how you celebrate your wins is fantastic. So what's I want to ask you what's next for you? I mean, I know you have an agency. Where do you want to take that?
Yeah, so for now, I have a podcast agency out there where I help other people, like multiple six, seven, eight figure entrepreneurs, go from none to know using high ticket podcast. That's what I say.
Mm,
A lot of people out there have money, but they are anonymous. They're not known. They don't have network. So my job is to using a podcast, using a video based podcast, is to help them create that network so that they can build their audience as well and they can be known as well. My goal with that particularly is to help as much people as possible on that level until it's relevant, because let's say if that's something out there that can be changed or adapted later on, I might adapt as well, because I don't want to be like, hey, I don't want to be Nokia where it's like, they're not changing anything, and at the end of the day they ended up being nothing.
yeah, yeah,
It's good to be changed. It's better, it's better to be optimizing yourself every single time. But at least for now, what I see, like at least for the couple of years now, 3 years, I would say at least, I would see podcast not going anywhere. I don't see like video podcast being saturated, content, short form content being saturated at all. Things like that. So I want to help other people out, like especially multi seven, six, and eight figure entrepreneurs get into it, and so that we start helping them build those networks and connections, and we go from none to now. So that's my goal is, at least for now, on the business side. On the personal side, is definitely moving into a different country with the family. That would be the other personal goal, I would say, so that they could have a better life in the future. I'm not saying we're not having a better life here. It is, but you have to think about yourself first before thinking broader. You can't be like, hey, I'm gonna change the world, but you're not even able to change yourself. That's like unrealistic expectations.
yeah,
So that's the thing I want to do for my personal goals for sure.
yeah.
So yeah, that's how I would say, like, what's the thing moving forward.
Do you see yourself moving back to Saudi Arabia, or do you have any
Not
other?
really.
No?
No, I've spent 18 years of my life over there. So like think, yeah, like I've born in there. I spent 18 years consistently, never moved any country. I was living in there for like 18 years. I think I've spent long enough to see what's in there.
Yeah.
For staying there that long, I would love to visit. Who don't want to visit Saudi Arabia? So I would definitely gonna go back in there. But for staying stuff, I don't think so. I'm not gonna do that for sure.
Right. So what? Okay, I understand. So what? I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, where do you? So you said you want to. Do you have any countries in mind that you would love to?
Yeah, I would say Canada, US, countries like that are in my mind at the moment, uh, for sure, because a lot of different reasons, because of a lot of different opportunities.
Uh,
Like even right now, I was badly wanted to go to Funnel Hacking Live this year, which is like an event hosted by ClickFunnels,
uh,
every year. I wasn't, because of it took so long to get not even a visa approved. It takes so much, months to even get an appointment.
oh my
And
God.
last year, exactly when this happened, a lot of people out there who went to Funnel Hacking Live took my name, like, hey, I saw your interview with RJ, it was amazing. Can we get a selfie or so? And they were sending me these photos, like, hey, man, you interviewed this. We got the photo with that person. I'm like, you guys are doing there using my name, getting photos. And I'm sitting here watching you guys like getting these photos out there. I was super pissed, by the way.
Yeah, no, I
So
don't blame you. I don't blame you.
yeah, so I was like, so these are like why a couple of reasons now there why I chose these countries, in a different ways,
Uh-huh.
definitely.
Okay, I get it. Makes sense because I have a friend. Um, yeah, I have a friend who basically I can connect you with him later on. But
Sure.
basically, he born in Pakistan, raised in Pakistan. He lives like in the UK right now. I met him in Malaysia, but he's doing his PhD now. He's in the UK. I felt his pain. Like you don't understand. You have visa, I don't
Yeah.
have visa. So
Yeah, that's a problem. That's the problem. The only people who could understand is the people who actually face that. Or if you saw the situations.
yeah.
When I mentioned about, the guy I interviewed yesterday, Andrew Cruz, he's a multi-seven-figure entrepreneur. He went to actually Mexico. He built some houses for some poor families over there. Then he saw like what it's actually like, to live in other countries out there and what they don't even have. It's a lack of gratitude sometimes.
Yeah.
He asked like one of those kids, like, what you want? And he wanted the warmth, because the places where they were living, it was so cold,
Wow.
just because they were like mud houses, like uh, raw bricks or things like that. So there
Wow.
was no way to keep yourself, that in that temperature. So it
Yeah.
was like, man, we're doing so much in so lot of different ways. We take so many things for granted. Like once you saw these people out there, once you saw how it looks like, the problems and things like that people face, then you might have like understand. Like we do it for sure in a lot of different ways because we lived there, we lived in other countries just to see their perspective. In Saudi, as I mentioned,
Hmm.
they have their own lavish sort of lifestyle, but the people who are coming there as a labor, they have different sort of lifestyle as well. We saw that as well
Uh-huh.
over here, good and bad both. So the perspective changes, like of what you want to do and why you want to do it, even for personal, for personal benefit as well.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, so I'm Somali ethnically. So I went
Yeah,
to Somalia when I was like 14 years old, 14. And you know how you said you went back to Pakistan and it was like completely new. I had that same experience. I was like, there's this phrase that we have in Somali. It's kind of like they call you a foreigner when you're not really a foreigner. And they like, make fun of you in terms of like
yeah.
you don't know the language properly. I don't know how well your Urdu was when you first went back to Pakistan.
I was fluent. I was fluent.
I wasn't fluent, so I have like little kids making fun of me. So, but like when I went there, I noticed how I used to go in education in the UK, and
Yeah,
secondary school, they give you everything: uniform, books, pens, pencils, planner. They
hmm.
give you a lot of stuff. Free lunch. They give you a lot of stuff. And when I went to Somalia, I noticed this one kid. I asked him for his rubber. He's like a 6-year-old kid. The erasers. You guys, if you're American, you guys call it an eraser, and the UK call it rubber. So basically, I asked him for it, and I used it, but I lost it. And I'm telling you, man, it was like this big, and it's at the end. You put it in the end of the pencil. He was
Yeah,
crying. Where's my rubber? Oh my god, you lost it. Their books, they for like 10 years they'll keep their book that they used in like year 6, year 5, year 4. They make sure they iron all of their clothes, their bags. They don't put it on the floor. They hang it on the back. They appreciate everything.
yeah,
And you should have seen me, man. I had my bag. I'd leave it on the floor. Like my clothes would be like dusty and whatnot because I was playing football. So when you go from like a rich country like the West and you go to like Africa,
hmm.
you realize, okay, yeah, I need to start. I have opportunities that these guys don't have. I need to start
Exactly.
taking advantage of it. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. So you with your I just wanna so with your agency, I mean, I want to touch on like some wins just so that people can know. Like, you said you wanted to help people. I really like your marketing, bro. I think it's genius. High ticket podcasting. I think that's a great name. Um, I wanted to know what are the results that you're getting your clients and how's that looking like for them?
Yeah, so the recent client, as I mentioned, he's living in Canada, and he's making over 30K a month. But the
Wow.
problem of him was he didn't have a network. First of all, that's a problem. How it could be like, how you can have such amount of people out there who have like, high level than you are. There's one way to pay them, and the other way to associate yourself with them. So he was like, I was like pushing him around, like, hey man, you have to do this, because he was actually one of my friends as well. I was like, hey man, you have to do this as well now. So instead of allowing him to do it with the coaching, I was like, screw it, man. You just do the interview. I'm going to teach you how to do it as well. And we handle all of it as a done for you service, and let us do everything, because we had systems in place, we have teams in place, and things like that. So the very first interview that we did with him was Katie Richardson.
Uh-huh.
If someone know who Katie is, she's like a multi, seven-figure mindset coach. She have trained a lot of like high-level entrepreneurs in our space. So I reached out and I got her on the show. And during that time when I got her on the show and he did the interview with her, she actually started to crying out. because he actually asked some questions out there, which is so closer to her,
Wow.
and it went like so much ahead, and the connection that he was able to make with her, and not with her but other guests, was amazing. Not only that, I know like some people are like kind of like interested, like, hey, what's the kind of results. Literally, when he started out, he went into like top 30 in not top 30 in Canada, top 20 in Australia in entrepreneurship. I'm gonna say in podcast charts, top 20, and then I think it was like top 10 in Pakistan as well, top 50 in India, his local country as well, because he
Wow.
was an Indian. Top 20, top 30 in Canada, where he's living in right now in entrepreneurship. He was on, he was below at on top of Ed Milet, below Gary Vee in the podcast charts in
Wow.
entrepreneurship. So like, things like that, he
Yeah.
went crazy. He was like, dude, because these are kind of like accolades you could position whenever you're gonna start out to reach out to other guests, and you could be like, hey, we are one of the top podcasts. The other situation, what other client I had, she had a podcast and which had over a 500,000 downloads. But the problem with that, she didn't had targeted guests. She was randomly interviewing people out there. I wonder like how she got 500,000 views, 500,000 downloads by then.
Yeah.
But she was interviewing like any person was reaching out to her for an interview. She was like, "Cool, I'm gonna good to go." Like she didn't have any criteria. I was like, we have to get targeted people out there. So we got her guests, guys like Alex Sharfin. You might know who Alex Sharfin is. If you don't, like, he's amazing. He's a multi-8-figure entrepreneur. Jeff Lerner, a 9-figure entrepreneur. Because she's into entrepreneurship, her niche was in money mindset. So we got those people out there who were talking about wealth. So we got this and built the connection with her so that they could be a long-term JV part. We got Myron Golden for her, and she went nuts. She was like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." We got Amanda Holmes, which is like the daughter of Chet Holmes, on our podcast. She was like, "Where these guests were, we were
Yeah.
like interviewing wrong people, like someone who might have little expertise on." But for these people out there, they are doing this for someone doing it for decades or years now, have tons of experience, tons of network, tons of connection. So things transition from that as well. So these are like a couple of
Mhm.
the things that we got for her, and things change for her. And anytime it happens like super oftenly. Anytime one of my client interview, the guest comes on after the interview ends, I always hit them the message like, "Hey, how was it?" And they're always like, "Man, you got us addicted with it. We can't even stop it now because it's so good. Because they feel so good of because they're getting free knowledge, they're getting the connection built, they're doing all of those things out there. They're
Mhm.
blown up. They're like, otherwise they would have spent like $5,000, $10,000 to get the closed conversation call, whatever you want to say, because
Mhm.
that's how much they charge actually. Uh, just think about it. I'm pretty sure you might have want to discuss that as well, but I'm getting 30 minutes of Russell Brunson. you know,
Yeah, I wanted to
it's
go.
like, yeah, like getting his attention, undivided attention for 30 minutes. It's you and him. Think about it. No, like not many people get this type of opportunity. So why not associate yourself with them? Apart from like paying tens of thousands for Russell, is like tens of thousands of dollars for his time. That's how much he charged, and he charges to a lot of people. So
Mhm.
like it happens with this way. So which is crazy.
I think that's fantastic. I really like that. And so I wanted to, because this is very important, because this is leading to my next question. I wanted to talk about the importance of having a valuable network, because I think that's something you emphasize heavily.
Yeah.
What's the benefits of it, and why should people value that?
It's crazy. And the reason why, think about it, if you might have heard of the phrase, if you are the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room.
Hmm.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
If you're interviewing, first of all, these people out there and you're adding yourself in the network, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be that high. So you're not going to be the smartest person in the room at all. That's the first thing. When you're increasing your network out there, directly or indirectly, they're actually watching you, what you're doing now. They would love to give you free tips as well. I'm not against paid, by the way, guys. Someone gonna comment later on like, hey, why not doing it paid? But I'm talking about like in a friend perspective where they give you genuine tips apart from like having the selling perspective. Like, hey, I'm gonna sell you something. They
Uh-huh.
would love to give you genuine tips, which is like out of your mind because you don't have the ability to think that high, and
Uh-huh.
they can think about it and let you know faster. It happened with me a lot of different times. When I launched my book, I didn't thought about what could be the name of the book would be. One of my figure friend that was who came from the interview actually suggested me the name, which was Decades in Days.
That's
And the
incredible.
subtitle of that book, yeah, and the subtitle of the book was the book to learn from decades of experience of successful entrepreneurs on how to build yourself and a business online. So he gave me a suggestion, and I was like, I would stick to it because whatever the name I was thinking about, it was nowhere close to the name that he gave to me.
Hmm.
And directly, indirectly, these people always gave me suggestions, things like that, think about me to level, how I can level up as a person. So like, why not having these type of people rather than always someone gonna be like, hey man, you're awesome, you're doing great, you're crushing it. The people below you gonna be like that. It's not bad, but you have to elevate yourself.
Hmm.
Now there's a these are the pros. The only con I would say in that is when you have a high level network, there's so much scarcity to it as well. And what I mean by that is you're watching people making millions of dollars. If you're not on that stage, you're scarce now. You're like, ah, man, I'm not on that stage. What's happening? You start to compare with those people out there who have
Yeah.
probably 10 years of experience, 5 years of experience. And then again, what you said earlier, disappointment, anxiety, things like that. You face that. But it's a part of the game. It's better to be more anxious, more scarce, than not doing be scarce at all. Be chill or something like that. And if you not compare yourself, man, you have the best circle. You can be valuable to them in a lot of different ways. I always try to be valuable one way or the other, either to get them on the show when they need it, let's say when they're doing any book launch or things like that. I would love
Mhm.
to get them on the show back again, love to share them the content, send them the content, just to try to be valuable from my end, however I could be. I always there for them anytime they need help. Sometimes they need any funnel builder, let's say I have those people in my mind, I just connect them all.
Mhm.
Sometimes they need to have another connection, I might have connected with them, they're not, I connect them. So I'm providing value from my end, they're doing the same thing for me. Now not everyone gonna do it that way. Some people gonna be like take value from you, never give back to you. It's
Mhm.
okay, they're always gonna be bad eggs.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's common. But the people you're gonna find good, man, they're gonna help you to elevate your mindset a lot longer.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful because in today's day and age, I mean, I've been learning the importance of having a valuable network, and in today's day and age, I mean, it's extremely easy to find people who have accomplished so much. I mean, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you would not have been
It
able.
wasn't possible like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So that's why I think it's fantastic. And I see how it's like benefited you. That's one issue that I think I had, like being unable to provide value to people. It felt uncomfortable associating with them. But value isn't just about money or like,
Yep.
you know, like you said, it's about supporting each other, sharing their content, and being there for them, connecting them. So I think it's fantastic. I mean, I wanted to ask you one final question.
Mhm.
Just what do you like? You know, growing growing your social media, growing your following. Do you have any tips in terms of content for anybody that wants to start producing, put themselves out there? What tips do you have for them?
The best tip is, there are two things. One is focus on more short form content right now. It is getting more viral just to build the audience. A lot of people are doing it. Alex Ramosi is like one of those guys who kind of like, spread it a
Yeah.
lot now when it comes to short form content. That is one thing out there if you want to do it. If you have things in your mind as your knowledge, just start to see like how you can condense it in like 45 seconds, a minute, and like post it up on social media out there, and it's working like crazy. That's the one thing to grow your audience. The second thing, as we mentioned, which is a podcast or interviews, associate yourself with the high level entrepreneurs, because then you're sharing and leveraging their audience as well. I
Yeah.
have a guy, his name is Law Payne, and we interviewed, I interviewed him, like he made over 150 million in sales. And when I interviewed him and I sent him the social media clip, the repurposing clip out there, he actually posted on his Instagram, and you can check it out. He had over 3 million followers. And that time he had over 2.5 million followers. So think about the exposure, is crazy.
Yeah.
That is the other way to do it. You can leverage other people's audience in that regard, and on the other side you can create short form content to build your audience out there in that way. So this would be my two major suggestions right now, which still I'm doing. Most people don't even come to me for my offers because they think about like I'm charging like so much, only because how I associated myself with these successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
literally, people who are making like 10 grand, they're like, man, I don't know how much you're gonna charge. Even though I might have an offer for them, they're always like, man, I think so, because that's their perception. Man,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna be charging like tens of thousands of dollars, things like that, even though if I don't have an offer like that. So like it's crazy how they perceive when you associate yourself with other people out there. So that's what my advice is.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fantastic advice. So short form content, collaborate with people, and leverage their audience. I think that's fantastic.
Yep.
I wanted to congratulate you again on your win, your huge win, for landing that interview with Russel Brunson. I'm looking forward to it as
Thanks,
well.
man.
It was
Super
great
excited.
having, it was great having you on. It was great having
Truly
you on.
appreciate it, man.
I
Truly
appreciate
appreciate it.